scholars, welcome to today's concept development. So today what we're going to be working on is we're just going to continue to be working on like how we can figure things out when they have to do with area and volume, specifically in this case area when it comes to areas with fractions, right? And kind of how we can just logically figure things out that we might not originally be told in a problem. So this is a two-part problem. I'm going to spend just a small amount of time on the first one. I'm going to spend much more time on this second part. So it says, Mrs. Johnson grows herbs in square plots. Square plots, meaning that if I know one side, I know all the sides, because a square means everything is the same. All the sides are the same. Her basil plot measures 5/8 of a yard on each side. So here's the basil plot. It's 5/8 on each side. So this would be 5/8, right? This would be 5/8. And so on, right? This would be 5/8 and this would be 5/8. Part A says find the total area of the basil plot. So area we know is length times width. So all I'm doing here is 5/8 times 5/8, and that's something that I would love for you to continue to work on your own, right? So you get the answer by doing 5/8 times 5/8 times 5/8. If you don't know why we're doing 5/8 times 5/8, either go back and look at previous videos or come see me in office hours, all right? Now let's get on to part B. This is like the real stuff that we're doing today, you know? So here it says, Mrs. Johnson puts a fence around the basil. If the fence is 2 feet from the edge of the garden on each side, the garden meaning this bit here, right? What is the perimeter of the fence in feet? So it says, I need to go back and read this again. There's a lot of information in a little bit of space. Mrs. Johnson puts a fence around the basil. The fence is 2 feet from the garden, from the edge of the garden on each side. 2 feet from the edge of the garden on each side. So here's one side, which means that this would be 2 feet, right? Here's another side. That's also 2 feet. Sorry, I realized I didn't put the T for feet here, and that's bothering me. See, this would also be 2 feet, right? Similarly, from here down, from the edge to here, this is going to be 2 feet. And right, this here is going to be 2 feet. All these blue lines, they're all 2 feet. Now how I know that is it says she puts the fence around the basil. So here's my fence, right? And it says that the fence is 2 feet on each side, which means that from the edge of the basil to the fence on each side, everywhere is going to be 2 feet, right? So what it wants me to do is find the perimeter of the fence. So the first thing I need to do is I need to figure out, well, how long is just this one side right here? How long is this? Right? So let's see. Well, from here to here, in other words, this bit here, because I'm taking this and I'm taking this, right, which I know is 2 feet, and I'm just moving it down, I know that this is 2 feet, right? Similarly, this here, I also know is 2 feet. How do I know that's 2 feet? Well, because as you can see, there's like a straight line down, and I know from the basil to the edge, from the edge of the basil to the fence is 2 feet, which means from this, which is also where the edge of the basil would be, to that, that's 2 feet as well. And then how about this center part here? Well, I know that the basil, each side of the basil is 5/8 of a yard. So that means that this is going to be 5/8 of a yard, not 5/8 of a foot. Because they like to confuse us. Right? So now I know how long it'll be, how long one side is. This happens to be a square. The way I know it's a square is because this middle part is a square and then it's equal on all sides. So if this is 2 feet and 5/8 of a yard and another 2 feet, then this is also going to be that. So there's also going to be, right, the 5/8 in the middle here. And then here I've got, right, so this area here, remember how I said this is 2 feet? If I just bring it across, it's the same. Let's put that back. So that's going to be 2 feet. And similarly here, I can just bring this over. Remember I said that this was 2 feet, and I can just bring it over here. That's going to be 2 feet. So all the way around, everywhere, each side of my fence is going to be 2 feet plus another 2 feet, or 4 feet plus 5/8 of a yard. So I know that this side is going to be 4 feet and 5/8 of a yard. And there we go. And this side is also going to be 4 feet plus 5/8 of a yard. Now, if you're a little confused by that, feel free to go back, rewind the video, try to figure out where I got that from, or come to office hours, or talk to a friend, or talk to Miss Andrea, whatever works for you. But now we're on to the next part. So that was all just part sort of 1 of part B. Now we need to find the perimeter of the fence in feet. So I already know that the perimeter is, by the way, the perimeter, if you didn't know, is side plus side plus side plus side. In other words, it's length plus length plus width plus width, because what you're doing for perimeter is you're walking the outside of it. So you're doing this, okay? So in this case, I'm going to break up each side. And if I'm going to do it, let's just do it like this for ease. Length plus width plus length plus width. And remembering, they're all the same here. So here, I'm just going to count all of my whole numbers and I'm going to take them out. 4 feet, 8 feet, 10 feet, 12 feet, 14 feet, 16 feet. So far I have 16 feet. I still need to add my 5/8 of a yard. And how many 5/8 of a yard do I have? I have 1, 2, 3, 4 5/8 of a yard. Or I have 5/8 times 4, which would give me 20/8 of a yard, which is going to be 2 yards because of 16, right? 8/8 would be 1 yard, another 8/8 would be 2 yards, or 8, 16. So I have 2 yards, and how much do I have left over? I have 4/8 of a yard left over. Now 2 yards, I know 1 yard is 3 feet. So 2 yards is going to be 6 feet. Okay, so now I've also used my 2 yards. 16 feet plus another 6 feet. And now I still have this 4/8. That's not what I meant to do, but that's okay. I still have this 4/8 of a yard that I need to figure out. So it's going to be 4/8, right, of a yard. So what I'm really doing is I'm multiplying it. I believe. I could be wrong on this one, so go with me on it. 4/8 of a yard would be 4 out of 24? No, that's not right. 1 second. So anyway, let's do it this way. Let's say 4/8 of a yard. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to shade in. If this is 1 yard, I'm going to shade in half, because 4/8 is the same as a half. All right. Okay, this is my 4/8 of a yard, and if you're not sure exactly how I got that, check this out. What's happening? 2, 3. All right. My computer appears to be freaking out, so this might be the end of the application problem for now. All right. Well, let's see what I got. Let's see if I can make this work. Okay. So here's 4/8 of the yard, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 is 1 yard. I colored in 4 of them. But now I need to figure out, well, how many feet is this? Remember that a yard has 3 feet. So it would be like 1, 2. I think that works. Sorry, my computer's being very weird. So I actually do have to end here, and I'm going to come back with another video with the second part of this. But basically, what we ended up doing, and then we're just going to add our 4/8 of a yard here. But what we ended up doing is we're taking the information that was given and some of the information that was implied, not given, but we could find it out, and we're using that to solve this problem. So I hope that was helpful. I'm really sorry about the end of it. I'm honestly a little confused myself, so I'm going to work on that, but we'll work on it together. All right, scholars? All right, bye.